Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. I feel like I want to start addressing this since I've been hearing this same talking point over and over again, at least since 2016. And now, since as of recently this week, it's been said yet again. And that's of course the overblown notion that Republicans are Nazis and Trump is another Hitler. I mean, even as an independent, it seems like we're trying to repeat ourselves over and over again every time an election rolls out. No, Republicans are not Nazis. Now, why am I mentioning this? Well, because Kamala Harris posted this on her Twitter/X. The American people deserve a leader who maintains certain standards about the role and responsibility of the President of the United States. Certainly not comparing oneself in a clearly admiring way to Hitler. What a turd sandwich. Okay, so now we're circling back to the whole Trump is no different from Adolf Hitler claims, because that clearly worked the last time. Now, this obviously stems from a claim that was made by General John Kelly, the former White House chief of staff to Donald Trump. He not only calls Trump a fascist, but he makes a claim that Trump supposedly said that Hitler did some good things too. This story, I believe, happened months ago. And there are also other reports who are also part of the Trump administration, or at least worked with Trump, denying some of these allegations. Now, obviously, these are just a few reports coming out. There is no, at least, direct evidence that Trump has ever compared himself to Hitler in any way. John Kelly was the one who reported this, and this is just one person. And just because one person said it doesn't mean it's necessarily 100% true. Unless there's hundreds of staffers coming out and saying, oh yeah, he definitely said that. Maybe there would be some truth to it. But the problem is, this is exactly what you guys did in 2015 and 2016. And it essentially just boils down to being the 21st century equivalent of McCarthyism. A modern day Salem witch trials. Everybody is a Nazi without any legitimate evidence whatsoever. Now, if you guys took APUSH in high school, you may have heard of Joseph McCarthy and the term McCarthyism being used before. Joseph McCarthy, which is how McCarthyism got its name, only became a prominent political figure because he was able to utilize the Cold War and the Red Scare as a way to gain power and influence in office. McCarthy served as a Republican senator of the state of Wisconsin, and he gained his recognition by alerting the American people that the US government has been infiltrated with communist spies. So he was able to win and gain power by accusing his opponents for being communists without being evidence, therefore triggering a witch hunt-like situation where people were too afraid to speak out. A lot of people were losing their jobs, a lot of people were losing elections, some were even sentenced and arrested, and they would be imprisoned anyway if they refused to cooperate. And it just became nothing more than a complete fucking shit show that blew up on McCarthy's face, because once he accused the military of being infiltrated with communists, the government had to step in, censor him, and be like, alright, you know what, you fucking idiot, that's enough. And that right there is exactly why we have the term McCarthyism, to accuse someone of doing something or being affiliated with someone without any evidence to prove otherwise. And this also actually happened long before the United States even became a country, with the Puritans during the Salem witch trials. It always seems that everyone gets accused of being a witch and practicing witchcraft without any evidence proving these exact claims. And it even led to unfair trials and people being executed from it. It's the boy who cried wolf. The Salem witch trials, McCarthyism, whatever you want to call it. It's a similar situation what we're getting right here. Everybody is a Nazi without any evidence suggesting otherwise. Joseph McCarthy was able to call all of his opponents communists until it inevitably wore off and everyone was getting sick and tired of that same shtick. Everybody who is a Republican and or is associated with Trump is automatically a Nazi and is literally Hitler. Anyone who has a different opinion from mine or has different political views is literally Hitler. This always seems to be a very terrible strategy the left always seems to do every time. Like they always seem to throw shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And here's the real issue with this. You've already said that Donald Trump admired Hitler supposedly, and he wants to be like Hitler, and he wants his generals to be Nazi generals, and the Republican Party is the party of white supremacy and neo-Nazis and whatnot. You've pretty much already blown your load. And it pretty much didn't seem to work. And in fact, how many times have you already blown your load already? Why do you think there's been so many of these assassination attempts that have been going on towards him lately? You're accusing the poor dude of crimes that aren't even technically considered crimes, let alone felonies, and escalating these same local crimes into federal-level felonies, which means if Trump were to be in prison, he would be in a federal prison. You've indicted him at least 5 times. You've already did the Russia shtick. That backfired. One sham impeachment after another, misinsinuating the bloodbath statement, tying Project 2025 to him, even though his agenda is completely and totally different from it. What more can I say? You talk to any American here, even the ones who don't actually like Trump at all, they just don't give a shit. And to the apolitical undecideds, they see stuff like that and they're only gonna start inching their favoritism to Trump more. And the ones who are already sold on Trump and the more core fans of him, they're gonna double down their support for Trump even more, even going as far as persuading some of their already undecided friends to do so anyway. Calling Trump Hitler and calling the Republican Party Nazis completely trivializes the events of the early 20th century and is a slap in the face to anyone who actually suffered from it. If Trump was Hitler, I don't think he's doing a good job at it, especially with his glowing support on Israel. Or like when Charlottesville happened and then he said, very fine people on both sides, which got taken out of context, and he even denounced neo-Nazis and white supremacists in that same speech, despite everyone insinuating that he was going to invite David Duke and Richard Spencer to the White House. The people who are in the Republican Party are nothing like David Duke or Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer is a piece of shit. David Duke is a piece of shit. I don't support either of these people. I don't support white supremacy. White supremacy and neo-Nazis are evil scums of the earth. They are just as bad as far-left Antifa, and much like with the far-left communists that we see, they should not be taken seriously. Nazis and communists are the only 2 people in this country that should never be taken seriously. By the way, I don't know if you guys remember this, but in 2020, Richard Spencer endorsed Joe Biden in the 2020 election. David Duke supported Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat who ran for president of that same year. David Duke even went as far as calling Ilhan Omar the most important member of Congress because supposedly Trump is allowing too many blacks are allowed here, too many Jews are allowed there, too many gays, too many Latinos, his support for Israel and whatnot. And of course, the same exact shit is happening with Nick Fuentes and his stupid Groyper War II campaign that he's doing. Obviously, Nick Fuentes is a stupid kid and is also a neo-Nazi for what he says on his show. And he's actively hating on Trump only because solely of what he's been saying about Israel lately. So Nick Fuentes, Richard Spencer, and David Duke all denounced Donald Trump, and Donald Trump denounced all 3 of them. Not to mention, lowest black unemployment rate on record. So I really do not get this whole racist Nazi thing that I'm getting, because I don't recall seeing any of that happening in his 4 years of office, if you know what I mean. I personally do not get it, and in fact, I think it's cringe. Democracy is in no way under assault. The Trump voter across my street is not a threat to my democracy. The Republican who lives right next to me is not a threat to democracy. There is just no comparison that I can find to a political party in the US and an evil ideology from 80 years ago responsible for the killings of millions of people unjustly. The 2 are not remotely the same, and that's the truth. People, realistically, are not falling for the same thing anymore. Just cut it already, because this strategy clearly did not work in 2016. So let's just call a spade a spade. Republicans are not Nazis. They're not going to, set up concentration camps and then imprison anybody who is not a certain skin color and turn the United States into a neo-Nazi ethno-state. That is not going to happen. It is absolutely not realistic for any of that to happen. Just because a politician happens to have an R after his name doesn't mean he hates minorities, practices fascism, and worships Adolf Hitler. It seems like this always ends up becoming a talking point with every single election that the opponent is an evil Nazi, don't vote for him, and then when that person ends up winning, nothing bad happens. That's basically what we're seeing right here. Oh my god, Trump is worshiping Hitler. Oh my god, Trump is a Nazi. Oh, we're gonna turn into Nazi Germany. We're gonna end up having concentration camps. They're gonna start putting stars onto people. And Project 2025 is also gonna ban interracial marriage. Oh no, democracy is under assault by Orange Man. None of that happened between the years 2017 and 2021, with the exception of COVID, but that's a completely different story. Trump's been in office before in 4 years, and none of these claims have ever happened. We're still afloat as a country, and nothing terrible seems to have happened. So no, Republicans are not Nazis. We don't have to keep repeating ourselves over and over again, and Trump is not going to become America's Hitler. Hitler massacred millions of people and started a world war. The Nazis massacred people by the millions. The GOP has not massacred a single person within at least the last 10 years. Nowadays, it's just completely over-exaggerated. I will not elaborate further. The Republican Party are not Nazis. The Republican Party are not white supremacists. If the GOP were actually Nazis and were actually a bunch of racist bigots, they are not doing a great job at it. So this whole notion that Trump has essentially compared himself to Hitler, and he basically said that Hitler was a good person and that he did nothing wrong, these are just 11th hour de facto October surprise shenanigans that we're seeing. This was only one person who made that claim, and there are also other people denying that he said any of these things. Trump, year after year, every time he gets asked about Nazis and white supremacists, he always condemns these people each time he's asked about it, and he doesn't want to associate with the Richard Spencers and the David Dukes of the world. He has denounced them multiple times, and they should be condemned totally. They are evil pieces of shit. Richard Spencer is a piece of shit. David Duke is a piece of shit. Fuck those people. Fuck those Nazis. He doesn't want to associate with them. You know, these far-right neo-fascist groups like Patriot Front or the Blood Tribe, which, by the way, is a stupid name. Trump doesn't want to associate with them, and none of these are actually associating with Trump anyway.
24, what do you think is going to happen?
My vote is useless. I think Biden's better than Trump because he sends rockets to Ukraine.
In support of Ukraine, you mean?
Hell Ukraine, hell Azov.
Love Ukraine!
Hell Azov!
Tell me this.
And I was about to drive.
We're not
over,
voting Trump, Laura.
And I saw it, so
We're not voting for the right wing. It's the wing.
So it's not like the Republican is just a safe haven and a den for Nazis, or that when Trump gets elected into office, the United States will instantly morph into Nazi Germany and everyone's going to be locked up in internment camps. It's just not going to happen. It didn't happen in Trump's first term. It is not going to happen in his second term. So let's just cut the shit, completely drop the topic, and move on. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the little notification bell. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias. Links are in the description below. Share this video around with your friends, families, boyfriends, girlfriends, enemies, whomever. Definitely helps me out a lot, helps the video grow, and helps grow the channel if you were to share this with whomever you know. Finally, a video that is not as awfully long as my normal videos are. Always great to have a nice little shorter video every now and again. I really didn't expect to talk too much in this one, because I really do think that this is just a straightforward thing. Republicans are not Nazis. Quit using that trope. And with the news of Trump being compared to Hitler, once again, being the headline, I think this was the perfect time to get the message forward. Because, you know, it just had to be said, so... Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, ring notifications, and until then, take care, talk soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. You're awesome.